Hello silver friends, this is Joli from Quicksilver Hair. I had no intention of filming today. This is not my normal filming day, but I was thinking about something this morning and I decided to go with it and jump on here and share my thoughts with you. So I recently had a consultation with a client and her first question for me was, how do I get more consistent wash days? And what she was struggling with is that she has embraced her silver hair, she's embraced her natural waves and curls, and she's getting that very inconsistent look from one wash day to the next. I think this is a common issue when you are embracing all of it. When you are embracing your natural curly silver hair, you might be experiencing a whole new world. And the reason I think that this one in particular becomes an issue is that when you are straightening your hair or you're using a curling iron, you are manipulating your hair into perfection, so to speak. So you're used to it looking smooth, you're used to the curl looking perfect. And when you embrace natural curls, all of a sudden you see the natural chaos that is natural curly hair. I embrace the mess. I embrace the chaos because I feel like it's not worth fighting it. And in order to be at peace with my own head of hair, I realized a long time ago that embracing the mess was so much easier than hating on it. Not that this client was hating her hair, that's not the point, and not that you are hating your hair, but there are people out there that get super frustrated by this and they ditch the idea of having curly hair. They'll go back to straightening it and maybe their hair is a little delicate and they end up with heat damage. So they get on this cycle of being dissatisfied with their hair. So today I wanted to share some things with you about consistency and about some ways to make sure that your hair is a little bit more predictable between wash days. The first thing I want to talk about is that your hair type is like a fingerprint. It's unique to you. It's your genetics, it's how fine your hair is, how thick your hair is, how coarse your hair is, how high of porosity your hair is, whether you have pigment in your hair still or not, if you have thick hair or dry hair, or all of these things create this hair print, if you will. And I think you've got to look at your hair for what it is for you. I think that some issues come with comparing our hair to other people. And it's easy to do now because we are online. We are looking at the people that we like to watch and we see their results from wash day to wash day and we just latch on to, I want my hair to look like that. What I think is really important is embracing what your hair looks like for you. So figuring out your fingerprint or your hair type is really important. I have a post on that. I probably send more people to that post than any post on my website because I think the foundation of your hair care is understanding your hair type. So for instance, my hair type, my curl pattern is anywhere from 2A to 2B to 2C to 3A. And I have straight pieces as well. So I have a multi-curl type head, which is normal. A lot of people have this. I have multiple pigments. I have white hair. I still have dark hair underneath. And the curl pattern changes according to that. I have fine hair and I have thin hair. I have low porosity hair. So that's the basis of my hair type. If you head over to that post, you can check it out and you can work through the segments and learn your hair type. I highly suggest that you do this because it will help you pick products that will work for you. Now, moving on, the next thing that I believe is really important for predictability in your wash days is consistency. If you consistently use a 80% of the time product lineup and you consistently apply them the same way and you consistently dry your hair the same way, you will get more consistent results. For instance, today I decided to throw caution to the wind and I used an entirely different product lineup. However, I kept my application method the same and I kept my drying method the same. But I decided to see what would happen if I just used whatever I wanted and put it all on there to see what would happen. I normally go for definition over volume, but today I knew that the lineup that I was going to end up with, I was probably going to end up with volume. Does my hair look different today? Yes, it absolutely does. Because I knew I was going to end up with a little bit more volume, I treated it a little bit differently in the drying process. I let it air dry for a long time because I knew if I kept hitting it with the hair dryer, it was just going to be a frizz ball. But I used a shampoo that was different than the conditioner brand, and then I moved on to a curl cream that I don't normally use, and then I didn't use gel at all. I used a hairspray gel instead. So I really mixed up my variables, and I got different results. I got a different look today. Is it frizzy? Yes. Is it full of volume? Yes. Is it inconsistently curling? Yes, because I focus on definition, I normally get more definition. But knowing today that I was going to really mix it up, I let the volume take hold because I knew it would. And the point in this is that if you completely throw out everything with the bath water and you completely do something different, your hair is going to look completely different. Now, intuitively, when I say that, you know that's true. But sometimes when we're getting ready, we're just like, oh, I'm going to use this shampoo, I'm going to use this conditioner, and I'm going to use this leave-in, and I'm going to skip the gel today, and I'm going to air dry, or, you like all of a sudden you make a whole bunch of decisions that change the game. And that is where you can have days where your hair just doesn't respond or act the way you want it to. I have a formula that I put on my website years ago along with the fingerprint analogy, and that is cleanse plus condition and detangle plus leave-in plus application method plus hold plus drying method equals your best curl life. What you want to find is a shampoo that does not strip your hair, that helps to mitigate any kind of mineral buildup, that also takes away any of the product buildup that you're struggling with, maybe with the other products that you use after you've shampooed your hair. And you want to make sure that it's a shampoo that is either clear, white, or slightly off-white, so you're not discoloring your hair with the shampoo. If you need to use a purple product, I suggest you use a purple conditioner. But I use Scene shampoo consistently. That is my favorite shampoo. I used it today. And I think that if you find a base shampoo and conditioner that you use like 80% of the time, you're going to have much better and more consistent results. The trick is finding the right conditioner, which is the next step, that is not too conditioning, not too heavy, conditioning enough, lightweight enough, so if you have fine hair, it is allowing you to have some volume and some curl pattern. If you have really high density and you need a little bit of weight in your hair to keep it from being too voluminous, you want a conditioner that's a little bit heavier. So there's some variables to your conditioner that you need to think about. And one thing I often find is that a lot of people are still using their color protective conditioner, which is not necessarily designed for people with silver hair. So it might be time to make a swap there. Another thing that I've noticed about conditioner is if you're trying to do the curly girl method and you have silver hair, it may be time to allow yourself to have some silicone in your hair diet. Hear me out. I know, if you're a strict curly girl method, that sounds just completely off limits. But what I have found is that there are a lot of people that struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle and struggle. But if they allow a little bit of silicone in to seal that moisture into silver hair that's already a little drier and already looking for a little bit more conditioning, it is helpful. So if you have not been using silicone and you're struggling with your conditioner and you're struggling with getting that balance with your hair, I would highly suggest trying at least a conditioner that has a shampoo soluble silicone. A brand that I often recommend to do this trial with is Loma, because their silicones are shampoo soluble. The next step after you have figured out what your go-to shampoo and conditioner are is when you will detangle. Whether you detangle your hair with a comb while you have conditioner in your hair, after you've rinsed the conditioner out, or when you put your leave-in in. One of those three places is one of the best places to comb through your hair, get all the loose hair out, and get product evenly distributed if you do it with leave-in. That is where I detangle, is with leave-in. I put my leave-in in, I comb it through to evenly distribute the leave-in so that my hair is equally nourished from that leave-in. And then I also am able to get all of the loose strands detangled from my hair. The next aspect of this is application method, and it kind of goes hand in hand because you're doing all this at the same time. You need to figure out how to apply your leave-in in particular and your gel so that you maximize your curls. For me, it's on soaking wet hair, and I usually prayer hands it through and then rope it. So prayer hands is to go through like this, and roping is to take and kind of squish and go down the length of your hair. This is for me the easiest way to apply. A lot of people through the years scrunch their product in, and I want to discourage you from scrunching your product in, because the more you go like this and push your hair up, the more you're taking that curl pattern and pushing it apart. So a lot of people do this. We get out of the shower with damp hair. This is the way I used to do it. And I would scrunch in all this leave-in, and then I would scrunch in mousse, and that was it. And my hair was a complete mess. It was always really messy looking, and I really didn't have any definition. So if you want definition, the key to application is to do it while your hair is wet, do it in the shower, and before you plop your hair. You want to have applied your leave-in and your gel. What you want to see while you're applying your products is that seaweedy look. You want your hair to look like seaweed. It needs to be wet, it needs to be slippery, it needs to be waving, and the curl families need to be starting to form. Then you apply your gel, and for me, I do kind of push my gel up, but I'm very gentle. I make sure that I'm not like going like this back and forth. I take the gel and I just gently push it up and squish it in and come out. Then I squeeze all the water out of my hair. I do this direction. I squeeze it all out, and then I add a little bit more gel. I have a video on this called the double gel, double plop method. You do not have to do the double plop part of it, so you can skip that if you want to, but you can see how I apply my products. I'll link that in the description box below. Something to note about application method is that while I like to apply my products on soaking wet hair, the reason I do this is because I'm aiming for definition. If you're aiming for volume, it might be better to apply your products on damp hair. And definition requires some hold. So gel is really the mainstay for that. That's the one thing that really helps you define and set your curls. For those of you who like volume, if you have finer, thinner hair that is silkier, it may be a little bit harder to achieve. But what is noteworthy is that volume comes with some frizz, and frizz can be functional. It can be your friend. If you have dense hair or a tighter curl pattern, it may be easier for you to achieve volume naturally. So it's just something to note here. What your goal is when you're applying your products makes a huge difference. The next phase of a consistent wash day is plopping your hair. This is the first phase of drying your hair. I plop in the shower. I go straight from my gel into my towel, and I put my hair up. I let it sit in the towel for about 20 minutes. The next step in my routine after I have plopped my hair for about 20 minutes is to diffuse my hair. So diffusing your hair helps set the gel, it helps set that cast, and it helps set the curl pattern. So this allows you to actually get a little bit more consistent wash days. Since my shoulder surgery, I had to kind of modify the way I was drying my hair because I have a little bit of trouble holding the dryer, even though I have a lightweight dryer. So I came up with this crazy little method that probably most people wouldn't want to do, but I flip my head over and I lay my towel down on the counter, and I lay my dryer on the counter, and I just pull my hair in front of the diffuser. And I rotate this around my head in 4 or 5 different positions for about the count of 100. So I just stand there and I count to 100 with the dryer in each position. And this helps me get a little bit more bounce in my hair, because if I stand up and let my hair just hang and hover diffuse, the weight of the water is pulling my curl out. So I figured out that if I pull my curls like a plop onto the counter, then I get a little bit more definition. So that gives me a little bit more consistency in the depth of my curl, how much curl I get. It might not be for everyone, but it helped me tremendously to do my hair like this when my shoulder was recovering, and I still am not 100% with diffusing for 20 minutes with my arm. So I will come up after I have sat down on the counter like that for a little while and hover diffuse, especially around my scalp, and get some of the more wet areas a little drier. And then I air dry the rest of the way. So it's about a 20-20-20 process, 20 minutes on the Plop, around 20 minutes diffusing, and then 20 or so whatever minutes to air dry. And that is how I keep it consistent. After my hair is 100% dry, I will come in and scrunch out the crunch. Now, I don't scrunch because remember I was telling you the more you do this, the more you break up those curl families. But the longer my hair has gotten and the more gel I've had to use to create this curl pattern, and with my diffusing process, I do get a little bit of a cast. And I do prefer to scrunch that out. I'm going to demonstrate how I scrunch out the crunch now because I have found this to be a pretty crucial step, especially when the weather's very dry. I like to add that last little bit of sealant into my hair. Today I'm going to use the nourishing oil treatment from Loma, simply because I did such a chaotic wash day. I thought this might help seal my results and reduce some of the frizz that I've gotten. So in order to scrunch out the crunch, I've got a couple of pumps here. And I don't scrunch like this. I come through with prayer hands and I pull it straight and smooth that frizz down. And you'll see how it really does. I have demonstrated this a couple of times now on my channel, and you guys have come back and said it was amazing and you couldn't believe how much difference it made to scrunch out the crunch. And I think a lot of people are afraid of gel because they don't want that crunchiness, and this is the step they're missing to get rid of the crunch. I think it can also look stringy if you have a cast in your hair, and you may not want that stringy look. You may want it to look a little bit looser and fluffier, and maybe like mine just got a little shinier and wavier. So that's my consistent way of getting more consistent results with my hair. Hopefully in this, you have learned a few things that will help you along the way to kind of hone in on what is more consistent for you. Last phase of your curl care that I think is really important is sleep. I sleep on a silk pillowcase, and when it's a wash day like today, I will sleep with my hair in a silk scrunchie piled on top of my head in a pineapple. I feel like that's the best way for me to keep my hair curly between wash days. I don't always refresh. That's not something that I have had really great results with, but I have started to figure out some ways to refresh, and I have figured out my products on wash day that allow me a little bit better results for refresh the second day. Usually my second day sleep routine is to sleep with it in a braid because I rarely will have curls third day from a wash day. So braiding it's not a big deal, and it protects it from getting, tangled and dry while I'm sleeping. So that's it for this video, and I hope it has helped you to understand how to achieve more predictable, more consistent results with your curls, and maybe giving you some clues as to why your hair isn't looking exactly like you want it to look from wash day to wash day. This is the way I do my hair. You may have to add in a couple of products. You may have to change something that fits your fingerprint a little bit better. If you want to check out a post on my website that kind of goes over some of what we've talked about today, I will link it in the description box below along with the hair type post, and you can open that, check it out. While you're down there, sign up for my email newsletter so you can get more content like this every Saturday morning. I appreciate all of your comments and questions, so please leave those in the comments section. I would love to chat with you about this if you have any questions. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do so now because I would love to see you next time. Until then, shine on.